Hello everyone, it is awriterish here, and welcome to chapter 12 of Telling a Tale. Today we have some really big plans, and it should be super exciting. I have just spent the past couple hours in a testing world, not building something with redstone, but instead just building something, and I am very excited because this thing, it looks pretty dang awesome, and I am super excited to show it to you. As you all know, if you watched my last episode, we are going to be building a villager's training hall today, but that's not what's exciting. What's exciting is what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead, pop out here, and we have a couple errands to run before we get to building. And our first errand is gathering sand and lots of it. So we are in a desert quite a bit a ways from our main desert, but there, yeah, we're gonna need lots of sand. And by this, I think you may be able to kind of guess the main material block that we're going to be using. Yeah, it's not that hard, especially when you need lots and lots of sand. Yeah, you guessed it, we need concrete. So our first errand is to gather sand, and we are actually in the village where the end portal is. The end portal is kind of directly beneath me right now. I need to really get myself another portal over here, but that's for, I think, next episode. We'll do lots of, like, nether stuff next episode. How does that sound? That sounds good to me. Well, this is interesting. I was flying because the skeleton hit me with his bow. That was real weird, but step number 2 is to go ahead, enter the nether. Or not the nether, the end. Step number 3, kill an enderman for their bits. Go through the magical end gateway. And collect ourselves some chorus fruit. We're gonna need lots and lots of this stuff. I just discovered a glitch in Minecraft Bedrock, so apparently if you fly into the end portal with your elytra, you only load the one chunk, which is wonderful, because, like, I am afraid I don't know where I'm going. I mean, in theory, if I head in this direction, I will eventually reach the portal, but who knows for sure. I'll try a relog. Let's see if that works. There we go. Okay, don't fly through the end gateways with your elytra. It will break your game and you'll have to relog, and it's no fun. Next up, we need to get some blaze rods, and just to collect a ton of gravel. I'm going to collect so much of this stuff. I'm going to fill up all 5 of these sugar boxes, hopefully. So we'll never have to worry about gravel until the next time I need concrete after this episode, because I'm going to use a lot of it. And the final task on our to-do list is to flatten out this massive area everywhere in the sand blocks, all the way down there. Yeah, I need to flatten this area. Alright, so I have a small little confession to make. I was a Dumbo while making this recording, and I forgot to turn on my microphone audio and only had my actual desktop audio on, so I'm going to be talking over the next couple of clips as you see them. But what I'm doing right now is I have captured 2 zombie villagers beneath those log blocks, and we're going to real quick just kind of free them and get them back to being regular villagers. Their names are going to be Finn and Jake from Adventure Time, because I am a big fan of that show and have been recently watching a lot of it with my friends, so I thought that'd be kind of fun to name them. And so I guess I should tell you now kind of what we're going to be doing with them. So you probably guessed it by now, but we are making ourselves a villager trading hall, and these are going to be our 2 villagers that we are going to be using to start creating all the other villagers that we need. And it's going to be great because these 2 are not linked to any villages, which makes them perfect to start a brand new trading hall and a brand new village with. So it's all going to work out. And the style that we are going to do for this build is I am building them a fancy, super duper fancy modern house. I spent a couple of hours in a creative testing world building this out, and it turned out amazing, and I am super duper excited to show you all what I got. And right now what I'm going to be doing is I think I will be transporting all my materials over so that way I could easily build up the house. And then I am going to spend some time looking at it, building it up, and I'm going to catch you all up once I have some progress. But yeah, it's a little bit strange talking over the clips as I watch them back because, as you remember, I was a bit of a Dumbo, and I just forgot to turn on audio in OBS Studio, so the last couple clips in this video that will be fixed, but for now, it's going to be a little strange. So something very ironic is this villager that we just healed, he is a cleric, so apparently he's just really bad at doing his jobs. I mean, dude, you were turned into a zombie. That's like the thing you're supposed to not do. You're supposed to cure the zombies. Alright. I have now gone ahead and built up a decent portion of the base structures for our modern house. You can kind of see it. Let's take a look at it from the air. You can kind of see the big gray blocks, and those are our supporting structures for the build. These are going to be the ones that make it look like it's solid. Right now, these two look like they could topple over at any second, but that will change once we get some filler in. And you can see along the edges, I have added in some light gray concrete, and this is to make it so that it looks like our building is actually being supported instead of it just kind of being smushed into the dirt, because dirt is not a great supportive block. I mean, so yeah, so we have that nice gray concrete outline, and I'm going to spend quite a bit of time building this up to be a really nice modern house, and I think you all will like it. And so this is where all of our villagers are also going to live. It's going to function as a fully functional trading hall, and so our main block palette, of course, is going to be the gray concrete, white stained glass, and dark oak wood as our contrast color, and it turns out looking really, really nice. So it's going to, of course, be the very, very boxy style that are modern houses, that are, who knows? I'm not great with grammar. But it's going to be that boxy style, and everything is kind of going to be offset. So this is like my little bit of tips if you're going to build a modern house. Of course, keep the giant gray blocks as structure, and that will be very, very useful. Like, just a couple of them, and then basically mash together a bunch of rectangular prisms into a big shape. Make sure that there are huge floor-to-ceiling windows. That will help you out a lot. And then just make sure like everything is offset. The less flat surfaces you have, the better. And it just ends up working out really, really nicely. And yeah, so those are my tips for building a modern house. Let's see. As you know, I'm still watching back videos and recording audio over after them, so I'm not entirely sure what I would have said during this part, but I think it would have been important. But I'm gonna go ahead and make a jump cut to the next thing, because there's not much happening for me to talk over right now. And real quick, here's a fun thing on the Bedrock edition of Minecraft, is you can actually fortune crops. So with 3 plants, I was able to get a total of 13 potatoes, which is quite a bit. So there's a tip if you're trying to get more crops in your Bedrock edition worlds. And because we are going to need a lot of white dye for this build to be possible, I have gone ahead and set up the simplest skeleton grinder at a skeleton spawner. I just managed to find so we could get a ton of white dye, so that way we could build up all of the stuff that we are going to need for this modern house. Get ourselves all of the good white concrete, that modern looking block. White concrete is such an excellent block. But let's go ahead and actually get into some of the building. So there are some very, very satisfying things in Minecraft. Instant Break and having a full list of beacon effects, all the beacon effects at once, is definitely one of them. And yeah, you can see, look at that. Jump 2, haste 2, strength 2, jump boost 2, regen and resistance. And another satisfying thing is, of course, turning massive amounts of concrete powder into concrete with water. Oh, it's just so satisfying. This game is so filled with satisfying things, and it's wonderful, and I love it. Like, look at that. It's so smooth, and it looks so nice. But yeah, you can kind of see the start to our build here. We have, of course, the dark oak as contrast, and the inset on everything, making sure everything is not completely flat. The more variation you have and the surfaces, the better, as I told you before. And of course, we're going to be using end rods as our main light source. And we are now back to me actually doing audio as I play, so that way it makes sense and I know exactly what I am doing. I am terribly sorry for that mishap. I was trying to record a small bit without audio just so that way it's easier to put music over it, and I forgot to unmute myself when I was done with that. But here we are back, and you can kind of see where we're starting off right now. This is kind of what it's going to end up looking like, but I want to show you. So along the edges of these walls, this is where our villagers are going to be. You can kind of see this is the only one that I truly have set up correctly right now. And these are our shepherds, so they're going to be in minecarts directly in front of their workstations. This guy, Finn, is going to have to move. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, both Finn and Jake died on accident. And yeah, these are different Finn. It's a different Finn and a different Jake, but we still have them. But as you can see, this is how this works. So we have, of course, these guys because I want carpets to cover up the top of our buildings so that way we can't get monsters spawning. And that will protect our villagers because there are a couple balconies. There's actually one just right there that I haven't quite built out the room to. But this way we can protect these guys and we don't have to worry about ugly lighting on the top of our structures. And so this is kind of how it's going to work. We're going to have a ton of librarians just all along here. And we're going to have some stone cutters, or I think stonemasons over here. And here this is just going to be a stairway that connects this level and that level. And over here in this area, we are going to have some clerics, some farmers, some armors, I believe, and a butcher. And then if we go all the way upstairs, way up here, along here, we're going to have, I believe, toolsmiths and fletchers, if I remember correctly. I'm not entirely sure. Then over here is, of course, going to be our storage system. And this, yeah, it looks pretty ugly because it's not quite finished yet. There's going to be another balcony here. You can kind of see the one just right over there. And yeah, this is turning out really nicely. And to make sure that this is actually a valid village, we of course have our beds all the way over here. And this entire area is going to be reserved for beds. We are going to, of course, connect it up to the nether. And in the next episode, like I mentioned earlier, we are going to be working on a nether hub. It is about time. Because I use the nether constantly. Don't want to have to fly everywhere because rockets are expensive. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to work some more. I'm actually probably going to get the full building up, give you a tour, and then we'll get the rest of the villagers in. Alright, so that little clip that you just saw there was filmed in a creative copy of this world, just to show you, so you don't get mad at me down in the comments section. If we go into settings and try and go into creative, we will get this turn off achievements, a little badge here, showing that we are in fact in survival mode, and we've only been in survival mode this entire time. We're going to go ahead and cancel that, but you kind of got to see what this looks like on the outside, and somewhat on the inside a bit, so you can kind of see the layout. So we have workstation, villager, minecart, and end rod in between for lighting. And I have it set up right now so that if I add in any more beds, just right over here, our villagers will start breeding again, and we will get a new baby villager, and it will work out great. And so my job now is going to be to get in all of the villagers along here, as well as do some decoration on the outside. I think instead of going with an artificial type grass, I'm going to actually go with this grass because this grass is actually just really, really green. Like, look at it. It's very, very saturated in color. So this works out nicely for the modern build. I'm also going to add in a pool, which should be a lot of fun. And we're going to just add in some extra decorations like little fake trees and stuff like that. Alright, well, I think I am going to actually have to end the episode here today. It's taken me quite a while to come out with this, so we just have some simple decorations, a little tiny path leading up to our house here. I've gone ahead and we have a couple villagers in here. We have this guy who is selling mending for 22 emeralds, so it's not bad, not great either. Sharpness 5 for 35, which I believe is a good trade. And we have power 4 for 17, which is a really good trade. These guys are actually how I got all my carpets to make sure my roof was spawn proof, so we're keeping these guys around. Infinite source of wool, so that's lovely, lovely, lovely. And then we of course have our two clerics over here, which we can get glowstone, redstone, and lapis from, which is definitely stuff that we will need a lot in this world. And then we have a couple open spots for breeding, so our villagers can make more baby villagers. And if we actually head out, there's a couple more things that I need to do before we actually completely end this episode. And one of them is we are going to go ahead and head over to my iron farm right down there. And we actually haven't been there on camera for quite a while. I visit a lot off camera, but not a lot on camera. So let's go ahead. That's a down bubble Vader. Perfect. I have a couple new followers on Twitch. When I originally set this up, I misspoke. You do not need to subscribe to me on Twitch. If you follow me on Twitch, your name will become up here. So we have P90_Chan, Unity Sage, and SuperCon2. Thank you all for following me on Twitch. I really do appreciate that. And speaking of following people on platforms, I am getting really, really close to 100 subscribers. We are currently, well, I am recording this video at 94, so we are 6 subscribers away from 100 triple digits, and I have something big planned for when we reach that. So that is something that you all have to look forward to. And it should be a big announcement. It's going to be super fun. It'll be more of an engagement between me and you all, the viewers. And it should be great. So I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. But I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.